Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rundown. I'm Drew. I will be running this one solo tonight and here to discuss the tough loss against the Golden State Warriors. It was 97-94. It was actually 97-91. OG hit a shot at the buzzer, which was pretty amusing to end the game. But yeah, the Knicks end their West Coast road trip finally, which was very refreshing. Now if we're gonna get back to normal times, and by normal I mean East Coast times, the way games should be starting probably every single night. Anyway, I don't like that we accommodate to the West Coast like with that's a whole different thing. But anyway, of course, the rundown, just like any other of our Strickland um, content, anything related audio, visual stuff, BetOnline is our sponsor, of course. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all of the madness that is coming in the month of March. Right? I think you got that. What that is, whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. And of course, this is the Strickland. You go support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Strickland, or go to the strict.land, hit that banner, subscribe to any of our different tiers. You get different podcasts, different article stuff. You get access to the Discord, where there's going to be, of course, the emoji madness. People in the Discord know. If you don't know, you got to sign up for the Patreon so you can know the fun that is emoji madness. But yeah, let's get into a few things. It was, yeah, I do enjoy that it being 97-94. This is going to be really good on the defensive rating stat for the Knicks, the team defensive rating stat. I do enjoy that. They did play some pretty good defense, I'd say. They like Curry was relatively inefficient outside of the like the free throw stuff, which was like relatively good thing. And like no one, like Jimmy didn't really get off that well. I mean, Moses Moody was definitely killing the Knicks on like pretty much like every open shot that they needed. Like he got it and he nailed the shot. So, but anyway, like they played some good defense, but I think a lot of um this team right now, they since Brunson goes down, they're 2-2, 2-3 over the last five, and they the offense is interesting because like this game actually is not a good example of that. The previous games they were moving the ball really well on offense, even if the results really weren't like getting there because like the Portland game was kind of a struggle, that type of stuff. But like everyone was kind of moving, a little more free throwing, a lot of passes happening, all sort of stuff. The they were not moving with the same like purpose and intention as they were the past couple games on offense. And that was, credit to the Golden State defense. They played well, but this is kind of like the main thing that the Knicks are going to see pretty much until Jalen Brunson gets back, right? Like there is just they have nothing really. I know Towns had the box score for Towns is going to look pretty good, right? He was 12 for 21, 3 for 5. He had 12 rebounds, 29 points. Right? Like he had the game, but defensively, he wasn't that good. He gave up tons of key buckets, especially off of any sort of pick and roll action the Warriors were throwing at him. He gave up the fake. He fell for the fake handoff for Draymond Green, which really put the game to a close. What a awful way for basically the game to end. I know it didn't end right at that moment, but like the game was over on that like terrible defensive possession from from Towns, but well, let me get back to the offense. The offense has no margin for error, right? Like they without Brunson, there's nothing they can do. Like they can't afford um, Josh Hart going 0 for 7 and not scoring anything. Yet he had 7 assists, but like they can't afford Hart giving you nothing. They can't afford having Landry Shamet play 20 minutes and only give him 2 points. They can't afford Cameron Payne missing his 4 threes. He didn't play that many minutes, but they can't afford him missing his threes. And hell, that gets us right back into the threes with a discussion. The team took 24 threes compared to the Warriors 41. I mean, the Warriors made 13, the Knicks made 9. The efficiency was there, but they just don't. They're just not taking the shots. They're not generating the shots. They're not looking for the shots at all. They don't really do anything. And I thought the Warriors did a pretty good job of it wasn't like a necessary they weren't necessarily goading the Knicks in the first half with because the Knicks were attacking the rim really, really, really hard the first half, and they were doing like a really good job of that. I don't think Golden State was necessarily goading them into taking those shots, but you did see a pickup where the Warriors were not playing the 3-point line against the Knicks. They were really just like, we're just going to protect the paint. They're not going to take the shot. What does it matter? And that that was a smart decision. They defended the rim significantly better. Maybe that's I don't have the actual like rim defensive numbers. I don't know if it was necessarily significantly better, but like they defended the rim much better. The rebounding margin wasn't as large as it probably should have been. 55 to the Knicks versus 50 for the Warriors. I mean, they only had one more. The Knicks only had one more defensive rebound than the Warriors, right? So like the size that the Knicks actually had on them, like didn't actually translate into anything uh, good. So that was pretty upsetting, and yeah, it's tough to watch. I think these games are going to be these type of grinded out games potentially because I don't think the team really has they don't have anything in place to like do stuff, right? Where it's specifically it was Jalen Brunson create, and you saw the the pros and the cons with that, where like Brunson can light anything up and can create so many different shots, but there's no one moving off the ball. And now that you have the team kind of moving off the ball a little more, they have no one to actually like get into the lane and be disruptive. Towns was doing like a pretty good job of that tonight, but like they needed more, right? They again like they can't have Josh Hart going 0 for 7. They need something else. They need to play a specific style that like gets them shots, right? And we can sit here and say whether it's the players, that could be the case, I guess. If you don't want them pump faking and taking all these different things, sure, that's a thing. Another thing I would probably say, like, I think a lot of this is unfortunately like on the coach for this one. He has to get everyone. He's responsible. Tibbs is responsible to get everyone on the same page and having some sort of game plan to adjust for the fact that Jalen Brunson isn't here. He's not coming back. Next week he's getting reevaluated. He's not coming back in any sort of way. So like what do you do with that? And it's really um unfortunate to see. It really is. Fortunately for the next, like the schedule does kind of like open up. Like they're playing Miami on Monday. San Antonio's tanking now, right? With the Wembanyama injury. The Charlotte's not good. The Wizards aren't good. Dallas is Dallas, right? So like they should be able to go on like a nice little run here without Brunson, but it's not. I don't know how easy it should be easy in theory. I don't know how easy it's going to be with with this team because even as I think as like sensation not maybe sensational is too strong, but like Deuce had a great game. I thought he had a really maybe not great, but he had a very good game. It was a really strong game. He played, I thought, very good defense on Curry. He had 19 points, 3 of 6 from three. He was 8 for 17 overall. Like he had 19, 5 and 4. He had that great block on Curry. He had the held ball. He played some really good defense. Like he played really well. And as like well as he plays, he's not someone who's like, like driving into the paint and breaking down his defender to like cause any sort of advantage for the offense. Like that's not really Deuce's game as good as he is. As he's shifty, he's fast, he has his handle has improved. He's still not someone who can like blow by. He's not like Brunson, right? Where it's like he could just drive by you and you force the defense to rotate. He's not he's not doing that. And they have to find a way to get shots. I thought they were finding better shots with when McHale started to shoot a little more with pick well not really pick and roll with Mitch is basically Mitch setting the screen to open up the entire mid range for McHale. I think that's a shot that the Knicks really should be potentially trying to do is get McHale in the pick and roll more. The mid range is effectively automatic at this point. I would love to double check the shooting numbers for McHale for the mid range, but like he was 8 for 14 tonight. He only took three threes. Again, like that number really does need to go up in some sort of capacity. Like he needs to get the shots up, but going 1 for 3, that means if he was 1 for 3 from the field, so that makes him a McHale like 7 for 11 from two, right? And that's hyper efficient. The Knicks should probably be hunting that shot along with like three, like mixing in the increase in 3 pointers. Like that is there. But yeah, that's kind of my initial thoughts on the game right now. Let's we'll head to the comments. I know this was a frustrating game. So and it was tough and frustrating. But let's just see a couple things. John Leary has the broadcast, in my opinion, was ridiculous. Constant Draymond glazing. Yeah, John, I am. I was having the same thought as well. I when I watch Draymond play, it's really sad watching him play because he's really not good anymore. Like he's competing on defense and everything, and he was fine doing that. But like he's really not good, and the only thing he has going for him is antics, right? Like are these antics that he does, and it's just really sad to watch. And it's sad um to see someone like Richard Jefferson also equally as like lame and sad as Draymond, kind of like, this is gamesmanship. This is what he is. This is what he does. And I don't know, it's very it's funny to say because like the Warriors have been so successful and Draymond has been so successful, but like that type of stuff is to me like very much like loser energy, not loser in the sense of like, wins and losses of the game. It's just kind of like lame. It's just like you're lame for doing that. And the praise of that type of play, that type of style of play, I don't like it. I never have. I never will. And I don't like ESPN and the broadcast doing that. I don't like ending the game with the Draymond interview, that type of stuff. Like what he like the stuff that he said, especially like with Towns and it's just I don't know. Like I don't know. It's not okay. They encourage him to do it. I just see someone I've just never liked. I mean, he's a great player or he was a great player, but like I don't I don't like him. I don't like the support that he gets. Any of that stuff. And it's really disheartening to watch, especially when like there's many other things to talk about, and it's like, oh, um, let's talk about it. I don't know. It's crazy. Ashmaster as this team desperately needs a starting lineup change. Demoting Hart is the obvious choice, but does Tibbs have the balls to do it? My feeling is not. I Tibbs is not benching Josh Hart. Josh Hart's having a career year. It's not happening. Now, if we right, like, but we can like at least take a step back and talk about it. Even if someone wants to be like, no, it's not. I don't think it's happening, but the team needs some sort of like extra creation going on, right? And in the starting lineup right now, like they are creation, like they don't have creation, and Josh Hart really is like the only guy who's able to do it. But like this does come in with a tips thing as well, right? Because I do think there's a lot of success in the pick and roll with McHale. I don't know. I think that's one of the better options that they need to do. They should explore it. I do think in like the larger sense, it would make sense to bring Hart back off the bench, and they need someone else starting. Deuce does make sense. There's definitely the argument like when Brunson comes back, bring in Deuce, have Hart come off the bench, kind of reconfigure when these guys are getting in and not getting in. Sadly, it's not happening. I think that makes sense. Um, Long term as well. I do think Josh Hart is the type of guy where he's like the super six man. Like I think that's like his role. He's definitely outperforming everything he's doing right now. He's asked to do tons of stuff right now on offense, and a lot of that I do think has to do with the fact that like it doesn't seem like the team is getting anything out of the head coach or any of the coaching staff, right? So like they're so limited with it, and it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's tough to watch, especially to close out the year heading into the playoffs. It's a it's a tough one. Crispy has Tibbs has to shorten his leash, which Hart 39 minutes today is absolutely absurd. Yeah, like that's a lot of minutes, especially for someone who he couldn't buy a bucket, he couldn't get any shots going, but like he had the minutes. You have 38 for Hart, 38 for OG, 38 for McHale, like 37 for Deuce. They needed it because they had to play, but I do think to some extent, like taking out, it would be nice to take a Hart. Unfortunately, like right now, your options are like play Precious Achua more. Precious hasn't really been that good. I like I said, I think I really do like I agree with the sentiment. It's hard to do right now for this team because like your options are precious. I think probably playing campaign that could help a bit. That would be something to consider. But they're still running even without Brunson. It looks like they're running, they're running a 9-man rotation, but like they don't really have anything else. Mitch is still not there physically, unfortunately. I do hope we see him getting there. Um, Retro has we are not winning anything of consequence with Hart and Tibbs. I mean I think the Josh Hart stuff is um not it doesn't make sense right now. I don't think it ever has this season. I mean, there's ways to talk about Josh Hart. There are like some critical things, like he does have lapses on defense. He's not always like he does have like space cadet stuff. He's not always like focused. Like I get that, and I get that he is someone who probably is definitely better served as the sixth man. He makes a lot more sense that way as just someone you can bring in as the different like he's probably the better person to have as the different look. He's still a plus player for this team. Has one of the better like plus minuses lineups play much better with Hart. The team has won with Josh Hart. I really don't think Josh Hart the player is any sort of issue. I will say though for Tom Thibodeau, that's one I don't think the team will win if like this is how he's going to coach, right? If he is going to not do that much with the team, right? Like if there's no like, hey, here's the backup plan. Like we don't have Jalen Brunson, but that's okay. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z because this is how we play. This is how we prepare. He's not doing that. He's not doing anything creative. He's not shaking things up. He's not right. Like he's just kind of like meandering right now. And the team probably is getting to I don't know how close they are to it, but they're definitely heading to like, like the Tibbs stuff is done. I think we're reaching the end sort of uh in some sort of capacity, right? Like it is, you have the McHale situation. He is blowing up at Hart, and Tibbs are blowing up about something. I don't know what. I mean, I get that they're arguing and people argue in sports and stuff like that. I understand that happens all the time. I don't know what they are, but like kind of what we're seeing, it doesn't really help this whole thing that like with the McHale quotes. I know the minute stuff was getting all the attention on like ESPN and that type of stuff. I didn't think that those were the quotes. The stuff that was like at the end of that article, where McHale was effectively was like Tibbs is stubborn. Tibbs is kind of stuck in his ways. He kind of does. This is like what he is. He doesn't trust the fact that Landry Shamet can do more things. He doesn't trust the fact that the team can do other stuff, and he's very fixated on a very specific style and a specific way to win. Like he sees like the way he assesses it, and like that's it. That's gonna put the ceiling on the team. Like that's the ceiling capper. Like if he's not able to, whether it's adjust, accept the criticism McHale gave him. I thought it was perfectly fine and justified. He didn't say anything. I don't think said anything wrong. He didn't say anything inflammatory. I thought just like a fair thing. Just anyone who's us fans, we've been watching Thibodeau for so long now. Like we get it. Like this is kind of how he is. Um, and it's he's just not he's just not the guy right now. He he isn't. I think that's right now. Like that's the thing. Like it's on the coach right now to adjust. You don't have your best player. Um, you can understand if you want to say Towns shouldn't be getting into foul trouble in the first half, for this specific game. I think that's fair. Towns has to play smarter. He probably let Draymond get into his head, which stinks, but like it probably happened. You don't like to see it, but it did. So like when you have like these situations happen, or at least for me, my thought process would be like, okay, we need to adjust, we need to respond because like X and Y happened, therefore we need to do something different to shake it up instead of just, all right, let's make sure that we get over the screens faster. Let's make sure that we cut harder. Let's make sure that we pass with better timing. Like he rather go for like the execution rather than adjust or change something up. And that's I don't think that's especially like this current NBA. I don't think that it makes sense. I don't think it's very rudimentary. It's very simplified type of thinking, right? It's very much that, and I think we've reached the point now, just kind of like watching the NBA, and we watch other teams as well. They change things up. They will throw things like you saw like the Warriors did it. Like I get so many other teams have done it with the Knicks too, but like they'll just throw out a zone, right? They threw out a zone last night, not last night. Well, almost last night because it's almost 12. But no, like this past game, like they throw out the zone, just daring the Knicks to like shoot a three, like shoot the ball, and they just like chunk up the offense, and like it works because like they just throw something out there, they change it up. They're like reading the game, reading what the teams are doing, and that type of stuff. Like the Knicks don't do that. Like Tibbs teams are not doing that and kind of like reading the situation. We saw like in the third quarter, we saw like on the broadcast, Richard Jefferson was just like after Towns defended the Steph pick and rolls honestly terribly. That really got the Warriors really going in the third. Was just like piss poor defense in the pick and roll by Towns, and then Jefferson is just like they're gonna run the same play again, right? They're gonna put Towns in the high screen and roll, and they did, right? It was very obvious. We all knew it was gonna happen, but yeah, it's just like I don't even know where I was actually going with with that point, but like I guess it's ultimately like I don't know. It's tough. It was I would say like it's a tough loss. It's frustrating. But hopefully, this road trip. So, but let's try to end on a more positive note, right? Let's kind of cheer things up a bit. The West Coast road trip is over. I know I mentioned that earlier, but it's over. That means everyone on the correct coast of the U.S., which is obviously the East Coast, we're back to no more 10:30 games, no more having to rewatch it on that type of stuff. Like it's over. All the games now will be starting at a proper time, anywhere between 7 and 7:30. They do have a couple games that are starting at 8, which is a little upsetting. It's still a little late for me. I think games should always start at 7, but that's everything. But like back on the back there, right? Like he's back there, and we're good for that. There is going to be some not so great opponents coming up as well. Let's try to, hopefully get some easy wins, kind of get some momentum going with the team. Uh, Brunson will get reevaluated. Maybe all this time in New York, he has everything taped up and everything is swelling, not swelling anymore. Like hopefully, he's doing crazy massages on the ankle and he'll be back. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that could happen. But yeah, it's tough, but it's I I don't want to say like the sky's falling. I don't want to say like it's not okay, but it's also not okay. You know what I mean? Like it's okay, but it's not really. It's just it's just losing that way. I think that was it. It was just kind of losing that specific way, especially basically like Draymond beating uh Towns off the dribble. Like that really solidified it. That's just it sucks. Um yeah, it stinks. They almost did it. I wish they did. It would have been nice to give the Warriors a loss in this Jimmy Butler era that they're riding on. Uh yeah, it's just a little upsetting. But I want to thank everyone who has decided to join us. It's only me. I can only say so much, right? But thank you for joining us at the Strickland. Um, enjoying everything you can. So again, Patreon.com. Come subscribe with us. Patreon.com/, the Strickland. Yeah, that's what I got for tonight. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. They get a nice night of rest. Wake up tomorrow. I think tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, it's Monday. Monday, St. Patrick's Day. All right, sorry. So, but if you want to get your St. Patrick's Day partying earlier, go for it. Take the day off Monday. Call in sick, that type of good stuff. Um, that's the show. And I don't know when I'll see you. I don't That always is to be determined, but when we do, we'll meet in that time. And good night.